So thank you for joining our webinar this afternoon with Betach Solutions and our special guest Christian Roach from Open Door Technologies, where this afternoon we're going to do a brief overview on Microsoft Dynamics CRM. And starting small and getting it right will be our theme within the CRM piece, but then also we'll hand things over to Christian and Open Door to talk more about the integration of Dynamics CRM to Dynamics NAV and what their specialties at Open Door are around the Microsoft Dynamics NAV product suite. So as long as I'll just do a quick sound check, as long as everyone can hear me all right, I'll proceed. And if you have any questions, we'll take them towards the end. So a bit of, again, a brief overview for those of us on the call that are not familiar with Betach Solutions. We are a Microsoft systems integrator partner and have been doing cloud services with Microsoft since about 2009, and the precursor to the Office 365 era and the business productivity online suite. And from there, we've built our practice around Microsoft Dynamics, but specifically around Dynamics CRM, and not necessarily around the ERP side of the world, so Dynamics NAV or some other products that Microsoft offers on the ERP side. But that has afforded us the opportunity to partner with organizations like Open Door and Christian. So just a quick overview of what CRM is and why, and I think with given the theme of keeping it small and starting small and getting it right, I think a lot of people have gone down the path of CRM without a clear vision in mind and hoping that it will be a good management tool for them to track activity, or it will help salespeople who may not necessarily be well trained or the best fit in the role and automatically turn them into a top-notch seller. But I think there's more to it than that. So really, here's just a couple high touch points as to why I think people look at CRM and where it can be effective. So obviously that top one being better business results. So what is that lifetime value of a customer, and how do you arrive at that? How do you find ways to improve overall customer satisfaction and turn repeat customers, long-term customers, into your biggest brand advocates and your customer evangelists? Sales effectiveness in terms of, obviously, forecasting is always front of mind, but pipeline velocity, how do we uncover and identify cross-sell and upsell opportunities that may not be there, and how to leverage the platform of CRM as an organizational entity to empower multiple people to sell at multiple levels of various accounts or contacts where they may have relationships where that was previously just done on an individual basis or an Excel basis. So when that person leaves the organization, a lot of that mind share and that relationship share is leaving the organization with them. Marketing though, so creating better brand awareness, creating more velocity at the top of the funnel, leveraging social. Obviously, it would be timely given last week's announcements around Microsoft's purchase of LinkedIn, but how to leverage the social networks that we interact with on a daily basis and bring that into our organizational world. So how do we do that, and how do we collaborate? So how do we get that all up view of the relationship with the accounts that we work with on a regular basis? In terms of deployment methodology, I think our approach is very much around that customer decision framework. So looking at a plan, prepare, deploy, and then really optimize. I think it's a journey. CRM is a journey, and it's something that needs to be tackled in small incremental sprints or phases, and continuing to go back and recalibrate and taking stock of what was learned and determining what those metrics are that you want out of the CRM in the first place. And I think a lot of patience as well is required. So it is something that takes time for organizational change and culture change within the organization to adopt a kind of a CRM culture, if you will, and a culture where everyone is comfortable in working in that format. So what is the Microsoft Dynamics business platform and what falls under ERP, what falls under CRM. I wanted to just put this up here, and apologies if it's a bit of an eye chart, but this I think can kind of give a brief overview of what could be possible in the Dynamics platform, whether that's within CRM or in NAV. And really this concept of an XRM, so anything to anything relationship management, really starts to come to the forefront when you look at this representation of what can be done, particularly on the service or case management side of things. So, that mindset of extracting the customer and inserting, say, livestock, or extracting that livestock and inserting truck into a fleet management framework. So it is a fairly flexible platform, but really for the context of I think what we're going to look at the rest of the day, we'll focus on just this lead to close process, and often that's that first point of identifying, okay, where are we with CRM, and it's really about getting our lead to cash processes sorted. And this piece on the ERP world, again, that's something that I think Christian will drill into in a little more detail. I'll let him speak to that. So one thing I wanted to just call to light as well, given that a lot of our customers are already using Office 365, there's familiarity with the Office Pro package and the Outlook client in particular, so the ability to work with a lot of the tools you're already probably familiar with in some capacity, whether that's SharePoint or Excel or Outlook, as I said, or even Skype, where we're on this meeting using Skype for Business. So the integration points are fairly seamless and can cross the entire customer relationship from first touch point to close of business, and that lead to cash process. Another bit of an eye chart here, and again, apologies for that, but I think it's important to call out the maturity level of some organizations or people towards CRM. I think one of the pitfalls or getting on the dark side of CRM is people initially who will want to do everything, and I know I put up that kind of cliche graphic earlier of boiling the ocean, but they're looking at doing things of a 300 or 400 level sophistication around customer service or marketing, and really they're at a 100 level, if that. So I think it's important to take some stock of where you are and where you want to go, and really invest some time in some upfront planning before endeavoring down the path. Another thing I wanted to call out, and it really, I guess it could have been part of the slide previously, is around Power BI and some of the analytics and the ability to cross-lay data from multiple sources of data in the organization to achieve answers and analytics. So I think there's more that could be expanded upon on this in terms of the data points of CRM and NAV, but we're starting to see customers gravitating towards this as a quick and easier way to consume the metrics and the data that resides within CRM without actually getting bogged down within the day-to-day activity level of working within the data within CRM. So very much that executive level dashboard or departmental level dashboard for reporting purposes. We're starting to see some good applications there. And lastly, I just wanted to put up this bit of a readiness tool. So there are more resources out there, and again, just to come back to that point of taking personal stock of where you are or where your organization is and where you want to be. I think investing some time and effort into tools like the CRM Readiness Index is a helpful endeavor. In terms of further reading and resources, I think the Dynamics CRM roadmap is really a public domain where you can log in and just see what's happening from the Microsoft point of view. But also the Dynamics CRM YouTube channel is pretty dense in terms of the content that is there, so I would encourage you to take a look at that when you have time. Other than that, I think I'll let Christian give a bit of an overview of where we are, where his piece takes over, and then perhaps we'll get into a bit of a demonstration. So Christian, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Luke. So, Andrew, if you don't mind just making me the presenter there. Oh, yeah. Okay, I can show my desktop. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for the introduction and the opportunity to share today as well, just how Dynamics NAV fits with CRM and just a bit of the synergy that we have with Betach and working with CRM and NAV together. So I've just entitled today's presentation Empowering Your Organization, and just highlighting the Dynamics NAV with CRM. So if you haven't heard of it in the past, it used to be Navision, so we call it NAV today. So just as in ways of a slight agenda that I have, it's just introductions about Open Door Technology along with myself. So I'm Christian Roach. I've been with Open Door Technology since 1997 and have been dedicated and solely implementing, supporting, developing, and working with Dynamics NAV since 2000. And I'll just highlight a bit more about our company information and product information, and then just go into a demo showing NAV in a bit of an overview, as well as highlighting the CRM integration that's new out of the box with NAV 2016 for those who want to kind of see it in action. So Open Door, we're a gold certified ERP partner for Microsoft Dynamics NAV. We have certified ISV solutions for NAV. So our primary vertical or industry that we work in today for this ISV model is with our rentals product that we bolt on to Dynamics NAV, and it's tailored for the rental industry. But we also have done some minor add-ons, including EFT, advanced AP features, along with intercompany and the like. In 2015, we were the Reseller of the Year finalists for Canada. We didn't, we came in second in the end, but we were part of the finalist group, so we were really excited about that measure of recognition within the community. We're multiple winners of Microsoft's President's Club, which is the top 5% of the partners worldwide, including 2015. And we're one of the largest, if not the largest, Dynamics NAV resellers in Canada with the largest base in Canada today. For our company, we're 22 to 25 staff with contractors, and we are located in Canada, USA, and we have staff in South Africa, actually. And just as a side note, that has worked out really well when we're talking to customers about perhaps business in the United Emirates. So we're able to work within the same time zone as some of those locations. And if we have to actually be on the ground, it's a lot cheaper to perhaps fly some from South Africa if you are looking for local presence or assistance, that we're able to do that. Our head office is located in Calgary along with the majority of our staff, so that's implementation, development, along with sales staff. Now sales, we cross both Canada and the US, so we have representatives in both countries, and we do sell into both countries. In the ways of product information, just as a brief highlight about Dynamics NAV, it's a full suite of financial modules that can include, but are not limited to, of course, GL, AR, AP, cash, fixed assets, manufacturing, consolidations, inventory. Okay, there's many modules there that come out of the box, including trade modules such as inventory, purchasing, sales, advanced warehousing, assembly, and manufacturing, so we can do the make to order, make to stock. There's a service management component. Jobs, otherwise known as projects in some industries, but the actual term for us is jobs. And a large library of ISV solutions. So I mentioned ours, rental industry, but there's other solutions that are developed specifically for NAV to tackle specific industries, right down to golf course management, and or if you are operating a winery, you can even get a NAV add-on that is suited or specifically tailored to the wine industry. So there's all sorts of different things that we can do with it. So where does NAV fit within the market? Well, it's what we classify as an SMB, or a small to mid-sized business solution. We have implementations that are anywhere from 3 users to 250 users. They can support, from a few $100,000 business all the way up to $2 billion. It just depends on, where you are in your processes and what you're needing or wanting to leverage from the system as to what it is implemented with. It offers 90% of the functionality of a Tier 1 package. We do oftentimes compete directly with AX and SAP, so it depends on where your business is at, where we can fit in NAV. There's also scenarios where organizations may run SAP or AX as a hub and spoke, where the spokes then are multinational companies that run NAV, and that we then integrate that back to those the hub implementations being SAP or an AX type implementation. So we can be very flexible on how we integrate and work with the other solutions. There's flexibility and it's scalable to grow with your business. And it's with the way that AX and NAV are, and the fact that they both were originated in Denmark, there's a lot of similarities between the products. So we classify AX as perhaps the bigger brother, but a lot of the design components and the ways that dimensions work and those type of thoughts and models are similar between AX and NAV. And they can be optionally configured or customized to fit virtually any requirement. As again, I've indicated, that's an example of how we developed our ISV solution for the rental business, is that there wasn't something specifically in NAV for rentals, but we're able to modify or customize the solution to build on to suit perhaps a process that's unique to your organization or business, and we can tailor that. So I'd like to just kind of delve into a bit more about Dynamics NAV 2016 with the out-of-box native CRM integration and what that looks like for us. So NAV is a platform built to deliver success in your organization. But there's many different business processes that we encounter within our customer base and prospects. And so we're finding that really things are moving from more of a structured or a traditional format to something a bit more what we would call real world, or things are becoming more unstructured. We're needing ways to collaborate together across different departments, and that things or exceptions do happen, and we have to be able to respond to those in a quick and dynamic way. And that's what we truly believe NAV provides organizations. So with Microsoft, we're working on making things simpler or easier to use, being agile within our industries or our businesses, and looking at how we can use NAV to answer those daily, almost sometimes daily changing requirements, and also looking to the cloud. So how do we move from an on-premise or a traditional implementation to be able to deploy that in an always available online concept? And Microsoft has worked very much on providing that over the last while. So something that we call, along with Betach's the starting sales module concept, we have something called NAV Express that we do. And it's a rapid implementation whereby we give you templated questionnaires for requirements gathering typically, we can reduce then some of the time involved in an implementation on the analysis side through just simple questionnaires that you need to fill out. And then we focus on how to deliver the system and creating you simple roles that you're going to leverage, along with reducing costs of initial deployments this way, and that it's a proven success. We like to think that we can deploy your way. We're finding that some organizations in different industries are expecting or demanding that their customer base only do one or the other, whether that's on-premise, not offering a cloud deployment model, or only offering cloud and nothing available for if you want to run on your own servers in your own infrastructure. Well, we work to deliver it in your need or the way that you need it. So cloud, we can reduce costs through shared server environments as an option. So if you want to have a lower cost hosted model whereby we're sharing a SQL server with other customers, well, we can do that today in a secure fashion. Or if you want your own or us to manage an Azure environment or subscription for you, and you want to do site-to-site VPN, you want to do replication, you want to do virtual machines, you want to use SQL as a service, all of that, we can then work with you on a dedicated cloud type deployment. On-prem, so really what we classify as on-prem is just an installation on your own server equipment, perhaps in your server room, or whether that's a virtual server that's hosted with a third party and you want to install it as part of your network. That's all completely doable in those two models. So there's new and varying ways that we interact with NAV. So I'm sure that most of us have heard of the fact that we want to be able to consume our solutions both, perhaps on a traditional desktop, but also on the cloud. Well, with NAV, we have various ways that we can interact with the ERP system. So we can use that through a web client. We can even do it through a phone client, Windows client, which is your traditional delivery, and then a tablet client, which is tailored for touch. So there's many different ways to interact with NAV on a daily basis. And that it works natively with CRM in 2016. So that's one of the things just to highlight today, of course, talking about CRM and looking at advantages that we can take with the CRM solution. So on that note, I'd just like to talk briefly about the high-level key features of the CRM integration that comes with NAV 2016. So it gives us the ability to view opportunities, quotes, and cases directly through NAV. So we have a bit of a window into CRM, and we can create that synergy between the two applications. We can view NAV customer statistics right in CRM, or log back into NAV and see that in the native solution. We can also then navigate between those two easily. There's action buttons or buttons that we can use to basically call up NAV from CRM, or vice versa from CRM or NAV call up CRM. This is a bit detailed, so I'm just going to speak high level to it, but there's various ways that we can synchronize or link entities. Some of those are bidirectional, such as the sync of a customer account can be both ways. So if I make a change in CRM, it flows through to the ERP NAV solution, or if I make a change in NAV, I can have that sync back down to CRM. Some things are one way, such as salespeople or products. So what we envision or would expect is that NAV is your master list of products, as an example, and that we push those down to CRM but manage pricing, costs, inventory descriptions, things like that from the NAV solution, and then are distributing that to the sales group through the synchronization of CRM with NAV. We can then easily move CRM orders back into NAV for final processing and posting and invoicing. And then we update the status of the CRM sales order, thereby effectively closing that loop and allowing the salespeople to see and know when things have progressed from the order commitment through to invoicing by accounting in the ERP solution. And then we can present some information back and forth. So right within NAV, we can give the sales folks or those field folks the ability to view the account statistics of NAV, to give them, the balance or outstanding order dollars and things like that they can quickly get some of that typical ERP system details right within their NAV solution. So as they're following up with that customer, trying to sell them a new deal when they haven't been paying for the last 6 months, as an example, well, that becomes perhaps a talking point, not a fun talking point, but a talking point nonetheless. Utilizing sales orders. So just as kind of the previous slide, we can push down our prices and our inventory master lists, have those sales orders being prepared in CRM, but yet fulfilled in NAV, being able to see the status back and forth. And getting some information in CRM from NAV as to the activity, so we can get a bit of an overview or an activity feed on what's happening with a particular account right in CRM, and get the information that's happening in ERP as a bit of a post or a log there. So at that point, and hopefully, Luke, that this is an appropriate time, but I was just going to move into a demo of NAV, if that's suitable.
Of course.
Thank you. So what I'll do then is I'm just going to first flip to the various client types just to show you, but this is the NAV Windows client. It's a full-featured client. From here I can export something or a list quite quickly to Excel as an example. So I just hit my Excel button there, loads that sheet up. Whatever I filtered or navigated or am I viewing in my list or activity, then that's a quick way to be able to interact and integrate that with Excel. I can use Excel online and actually configure NAV to be able to automatically generate an Excel online sheet for me and be able to save and store those right on a SharePoint library right from my NAV. In this case, I'm just going to hit close there. But just to give you a bit of an overview of how NAV works, we have a navigation pane down the left. We have, what I'm working on in the center. I have a navigation ribbon that looks and feels and acts just like it does within Office products like Word or Excel, making it very intuitive for users to be able to pick up, learn, and begin using their actual solution. If I go to the Role Center here, I'll just show you my home landing page where I can get queue information. So it tells me in a bit of a numerical and visual as to where I'm at with my work for the day, and I can build these paper queue stacks based upon role. So if I'm a purchaser, perhaps I can see how many purchase orders I have open, not yet released to my warehouse, that I have to get completed in the day. If I'm part of the accounting or the finance team, I might want to have an eye on my cash flow. Well, I can manage my cash flow and get visual information, as well as be able to drill right down in and see what makes up that particular positive, or what am I seeing as hitting my cash within a particular period. And I can see that I have purchase orders that are pending and expected to be flowing through in this time period, as an example. I can manage favorites like my vendors or my customers. I can schedule reports to be pushed from when perhaps I want to run an aging and I want to push that to my inbox for tomorrow morning. Well, I can run that report and then schedule it, and it'll pop up in my inbox for the next day. There's many different features and areas within NAV, as we were talking about in the introduction, but just as a brief highlight, I have financial management, including general ledger, cash management, cost accounting, cash flow, receivables, payables, fixed assets, inventory. I have various things in sales, purchasing, warehousing, manufacturing, jobs, resource planning, service, human resources. So there's a lot of different ways that we can tackle the needs of your organization from the ERP backend, and then again integrate that with CRM. Another thing just to highlight is the fact that Dynamics NAV is role-tailored and configurable, so it's not requiring development or coding, but I can simply, for my organization, I might have a particular field that on the customer card I do not use. So let's just say that in our organization, I don't really care about Responsibility Center. Well, what I can do is I can use this customize this page. So again, this is configuration, not requiring development, but then I can go ahead and turn things on or off. Maybe I want to hide the fact box. In this case, of course, I don't, because it gives me information that I need to use on a regular basis. But on my General tab, I can customize a tab and simply change the way a particular field is presented. So perhaps this Responsibility Center, I'm just going to set it as perhaps additional. So if I do that and set it as additional, I hit OK. It'll just redraw my screen here for me. And now you'll notice that I do not see Responsibility Center. However, I see Show Additional Fields. So by selecting this, I can see my additional, which is what I've assigned it. So now I have just a way to maybe streamline the way that I interact with my customers on a regular basis for my organization. And perhaps you don't do foreign trade or foreign transactions. Well, you could hide that whole tab in itself. So just with the way NAV is set up is that we have these card views. We have ribbons to show, expand, or contract the additional information that's grouped by that. One of the advantages that we have over other solutions with this new design, if you're perhaps a past NAV user or a Navision user in the Classic, there used to be tabs that you would have to click on to see the additional information. Well, the advantage to the way that the pages are designed now allows us to actually see previews of the important information that I need to double check when I'm reviewing a customer without having me to go and click on separate tabs to see the other data. I get one view of that information. Just now highlighting here, looking at our CRM statistics, you'll notice that I've actually linked this customer with a CRM record. So what I've done is I've done a CRM coupling. So I've joined it or created my particular ERP account in the CRM solution. Now I have a simple way of selecting to view the account, and then it would open up my CRM and allow me to log in. Once I've authenticated once, then it would just take me right in. In this example, I actually have a floating sheet in behind here that I'm going to leverage. So I'm doing a bit of the cooking demonstration. So in this case, what I'll do is, and of course, I am spoiling the surprise here, getting everything logged in. And it's timed out on my login, so it's just asking me to log in again. So at this point, then, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the actual Windows client, but perhaps what I'll do is I'm just going to jump to portal.office.com. I've just logged in as a unique user inside this browser tab, so that's where I'm wanting to leverage my CRM, and because I'm logged into my other entities as my current user. But let's just quickly go to Sales. I'll grab Accounts. And then I'm going to find my Canon group, or the Canon group, and I'll pick it up. Okay, so from within this customer, by clicking this and choosing account, based upon the login authentication, it would have taken me into this particular account right away. But this is just an overview of what that would look like from within CRM, but now you'll notice I have my Dynamics NAV button, and then again I can click that and log into my NAV to view the account record right within the web client from within my browser here. So it's a way to interact both backwards and forwards here with this particular CM entity. And again, in here, actually, you'll notice that I have a case. So perhaps I want to view that case. Well, right from NAV, I can click it and I can see the high-level information. If I want to actually open it up and I'm a CRM user, an authenticated CRM user, and perhaps I have some updates on that case, well, then I can, right from within NAV, view back to that case. And again, it would log me into my CRM and present me with that CRM case case activity here that I'm working on with that particular customer. So again, just giving me ability to see information from CRM as well as information right within NAV for me to interact and work with. All right. So the other thing I just wanted to briefly show folks was the fact that NAV has many different client styles, and I'll just briefly show you those now. So this is the traditional web client. We also have a tablet client, and we have a phone client. Now I've shown you a little bit of the extra stuff, but the phone client looks like this. So if you could imagine that this is my Windows phone or my iPhone, there's a Dynamics NAV application that's installed, and right from here I can go off and view various activities and interact with my NAV data, including the ability to edit. So I can work with my data, run reports, and view my information right from a phone. Again, the phone client as well is enabled for touch or optimized for touch, so it looks a little bit different likely than what you would be typically viewing within a Windows client. So now just over here as well, we have a Power BI. Now what I've done here is I've just preloaded an available service that's issued by Microsoft for Dynamics NAV. So if you're interested in getting started with NAV, with Power BI, there's a great solution already kind of there out of the box for you to leverage and start to play with and perhaps tailor to your organization's needs. The other thing I just wanted to talk about is what's coming new soon. So within Office 365, they are working to launch, so it's still kind of in, I would say, beta or just like a preview experience, but it's called Project Madeira. And what you'll notice is really that this is NAV online, built through your Office 365 subscription. So again, the ability to use, NAV in a Office 365 online experience, being able to interact and use with a product that you're familiar with if you're already today a NAV Dynamics user. But we're truly excited about the opportunities that this is going to bring folks. But with that as well, again, just the ability to have Power BI linked again with that Office 365 subscription and being able to report on whether this is an on-premise or a cloud-based solution or delivered through Office 365, you'll be able to build all sorts of intuitive reporting and dashboarding right from within your Office 365 subscriptions. So hopefully I've touched on lots of stuff there for folks. So thank you, Luke, and I'll pass it on back to you.
Okay, thank you, Christian, for that. I will just actually kind of pick up my screen here, and I don't have nearly as many screens open as Christian, but I think you touch on a lot of great things, and what I will do is I'll just start presenting my screen and kind of show that front-end CRM experience again from our perspective. So as my screen loads here, Christian had mentioned, I think it was the Canon was the name of the company there. So I'm again, just to kind of differentiate those, and as Christian had alluded to, you're going to have a different user experience, whether that's working through Outlook, the Outlook client, and interacting with CRM or NAV, or working natively within NAV or natively within CRM or on a mobile device. There is multiple directions to get to the same information, and I know it can be a bit confusing, but in terms of getting that information out, I think what Christian, I'm glad you were able to show us a little bit of the preview on the project Madeira and Power BI, because I think that is excellent stuff. So I'm actually just going to do a very quick, simple search here and see what I find in my CRM. So actually, maybe before I do that, I'll just back things up and just quickly revisit that concept of a quick start sales approach, given that there are multiple areas within CRM, and in particular with the Dynamics 2016 CRM release on field service and project service and voice of customer, and I'm sure changes that will be forthcoming in the next year or so as the LinkedIn integration comes into the platform and how that changes. So there are multiple areas, but really there's kind of three core areas: sales, everything that we can do under there in terms of collateral, marketing materials, setting metrics; service, and that's more of a customer service, case management type of approach, or even building service and product catalogs and knowledge bases there, and really around the marketing piece. So building those top of funnel type of activities where you're creating profiles and marketing lists and various campaigns by either product type, geography, account size, what have you. And then really on top of that, there is another layer of marketing automation that we use an application built specifically for Dynamics CRM called Click Dimensions. So what that'll entail is affording the ability to automate email marketing and provide a lot of analytics around who is registering for events and activities that you're doing, how they're interacting with a lot of the content that's being sent out, and even some integration around the website. So tying in your web analytics into the marketing side. Those are kind of the higher, broader strokes, but really that's a lot to digest at once. So what we've done with this quick start sales piece is really distill it down to the core pieces of customers, contacts, accounts, opportunity, leads, and to a lesser extent competitors. So what I'll do first is just drill into the competitors, or sorry, the accounts list. And if I just scroll through here, I should be able to find I believe it was that Christian was pulling up earlier. So I'll just quickly pull up the account record. And again, the same with everything on the NAV side. Everything within this form of CRM is configurable. So that means there is no custom code being written behind the scenes here, but we are able to change the look and feel and the information that's displayed on this to what's pertinent. If it's not really, if there's certain know your customer type of pieces of information that you want to flag and track that should be front of mind, there's certainly the ability to put them there. And as you see, that owner, anything with a red asterisk is a required field. But what I would like to call out here, just in terms of the Canon group here quickly, is this integration to Dynamics NAV with the account statistics, the current account balances, sales, outstanding orders, all of that back-end financial information that Christian was showing in the NAV platform, showing up here in CRM. I think that's a big win and a big step forward for that bi-directional flow of information between the front office and the back office applications. So it's a big win to be able to see that here in the account record from a business development perspective. Within that, I will look at just the contact fields quickly and take you through some of that. So I'm able to work here. I'll just pick an arbitrary contact here. Maybe I'll go with Cap Francis from Coho Winery. Same conceptual principle here. any of the pertinent information that we're tracking, some big maps integration to see physically where they're located. If I'm a mobile person and I'm out actually making an on-site call to visit them, in terms of an activity feed, any of those phone calls or tasks, whether that's a email or in-person appointment, using that as that system of record and capturing the activity with either the account, opportunity in hand, or the contact. So again, just showing that is for navigation's sake. And then lastly, I'll kind of move into this this concept of the pipeline and lead to cash. So, for example, we've got a list of open leads here where this may be a first time we've made contact with this person. I see here quickly, looks like Walter Harp, based on just on the topic of the conversation, is perhaps a good prospect. So we'll see what this is, and once I drill in, if there's any further information or activity to happen. So this is perhaps what you're looking at here is really the left to right process flow of the workflow of qualify through to close. So that lead through to cash, but what really has to happen at each step along the way. So a couple things I wanted to call it just quick to attention is that lead source. So whether or not that's a pick list here where we configure it, but for example, in our line of work where we have leads from various different complementary organizations such as Open Door or Microsoft or other people in our space, we will start to track those leads and say, okay, well, here's our top 3 sources of leads, or hey, actually from a trade show perspective in 2015, we really didn't get a whole heck of a lot of ROI on our efforts there. So maybe let's look at some web marketing. I think that's kind of an important one that people lose sight of in the pipeline. But as we move through here, this is, for example, just your we'll call it budget and need, authority, need, and timeline criteria. So whether I've determined that as I work through here, it looks like all of this is complete. I've made contact with the decision maker. The follow-up is provide capture that in my notes, and I'll just qualify this lead. And as I do that, you'll see that it's moved from that leads field into an opportunity, and I've now got a prospective pipeline here. And as I traverse through this workflow, it prompts me as to what to do next. What is the customer need? It's really a guided selling process. The benefit is onboarding new people to the sales methodology of the organization, and/or redeploying and really turning everybody in the organization into a sales or business development person as they're interacting with people at every touch point. So as I click through, I've identified the appropriate people, I've done the appropriate tasks, whatever that secret sauce is in the business development process for either a net new or existing customer in a new opportunity, and I just simply move along the process. So whether or not this is a 5-step, 4-step process, or maybe there's 5, 6 steps, or maybe it's a branched type of process. So at the second step, based on one of the criteria that is developed, maybe there's a 5th step that pops up in the pipeline, and you're really actually kind of managing 2 pipelines in parallel. So I've just moved through here, and essentially I've now closed this business. I'm going to do this fairly quickly, just in the interest of time, but as you can see, just moving through here, even to the point of sending a follow-up and file debrief for the next step and handing that off and pushing it to the back office. So if that there is an estimated dollar value and closed revenue amount here. I'll just hit close as 1, and you'll see that it'll prompt me to input all of the actuals on this information, and then really it should push back into the back end and to the NAV product. So that's a fairly quick overview of working through that sales pipeline piece and focusing on kind of these core pieces of contacts, opportunity, leads, accounts, or COLA, if you will. That's kind of an easy acronym to remember. And maybe I'll just quickly take an overview here into some of the dashboards as well. I know it's a bit limited just given the lack of data that is in a sample environment, but again, just calling out that lead source by campaign, tracking cases. I know Christian had mentioned tracking those cases back and forth from CRM to NAV and vice versa. And of course, the activities in the pipeline, and whether that's a sales activity or marketing activities or a service queue, all of that is possible. But again, it's things that are built upon time and effort and having a good plan in place. So that, in short, is really the extent of what I was hoping to show here. And again, thank you, Christian, for taking the time to show us through Dynamics NAV and all of the interesting things that are forthcoming with Project Madeira and your work at Open Door. So if there are any further questions at this point in time, Andrew, maybe you can unmute the audience and open the floor to some questions. I think we have 7 minutes still.
Thank you very much, Luke, and I'll stay on the line as well. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to help them or answer them.